Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here in downtown Toronto with Aram Collier, the Director of Programming for the Toronto Real Asian Film Festival. How did you get involved in the festival?
I actually started as a filmmaker, so in 2003 I came to Toronto with a couple of films that I worked on, and I was part of the festival in that sense. And then I eventually moved to Toronto a few years later and kind of got involved with the festival in a lot of different realms, but primarily kind of participating in programming. And this year is my first year as Director of Programming for Real Asian.
And what does it mean to be a Director of Programming?
Basically, I watch all the films. I mean, it's more or less a kind of a curatorial position and administrative in a lot of ways. But so all the films that come through submissions, I watch them with a programming team. I have programming consultants, and I also solicit films that I go to other festivals and I see films and I want to invite them to Toronto. So all the films I've seen them, and this is basically the work. It's a collective effort. We have a team, but this is what I do. So. Yeah.
And how many films would you say you've seen this year?
Oh God, it's got to be over 300 or 400 films.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you're curating, are you looking for common themes, common messages? Do you think that'll change year to year? How do you choose the films?
Yeah, I mean, things do come up. So, there was a lot of coming of age films this year that I really liked. But you try to balance it out in terms of like what the audience needs and also what you want to kind of promote thematically. I think more than anything, you notice patterns in terms of production styles. So especially you talk about North American filmmakers, a lot are, especially Asian North American filmmakers, are going to Asia to shoot films. So for instance, we have a film called Graceland by Ron Morales. He shot it in the Philippines. He's from the States actually, but he shot it in the Philippines. Another film that we have is by Musa Saeed called Valley of Saints, and he went to Kashmir to shoot the film, but he was born and raised in the U.S. So this is something that is a production trend amongst Asian North Americans going to Asia, in addition to the kind of international films that we have.
How international is the festival?
It's very international. I mean, it kind of reflects Toronto in that sense because we are a Pan-Asian organization, so we do have to kind of try to represent as much of kind of Asia as possible, as well as kind of homegrown films. So we are very international. We have films from over 14 countries this year. So there are films from Asia, there are films from US and Canada, as well as there's a few films from Europe as well.
Do you find that the audiences in Toronto are equally excited about films, whether they're Canadian or international?
I think they're excited in different ways. I mean, the audience sometimes does break down in terms of maybe like a Taiwanese film will have a lot of Taiwanese community that goes to it, and maybe a Canadian film will be a little bit more second generation or something like that. But there's a lot of enthusiasm for film in general, and that also reflects Toronto as well.
And what are some of the other programs that you are hosting at the festival? Any speaker events or things like that?
Yeah. So we actually have a whole industry series component that kind of deals with the business side of filmmaking. So we fold a lot of the kind of filmmakers. They do talks, master classes, as well as you can learn about the business, do networking, and we also have special exhibitions. So the kind of more experimental gallery kinds of shows, we also have those as well. In addition to the traditional screenings.
And where do you see the festival going in years to come?
Well, I mean, I think Asia is a really booming market. So everybody, especially China, so everybody kind of has their eye economically on the region. So I think there's a lot of interest in it that goes along with the economics. I mean, you look at something like Gangnam Style, right? Is huge, right? And that's because of there's this interest of the culture and everything of Korea, and more so in terms of people trying to market and create a market hold in China, right? This is what Hollywood is doing. This is what other filmmakers are doing. Everybody wants to do co-productions there. So that's where I see things going. And like I said, I mean, I think the world is getting smaller in some ways, and people are more used to it.
Do you find that the theme of economics in Asia comes up in a lot of the films?
I don't think that it comes up directly in the films. I think that you do see it play out in terms of how people are making films. and also how the films are traveling internationally because of this interest. These films that may not have been seen or even made 10 years ago because maybe they're shooting on DSLRs, they have a low budget, but they can make it look really good, gets on the international circuit, comes around to us in Toronto, right? That may not have happened 10, 15 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, it may not have happened.
So it's getting more and more exciting as time goes on.
It really is, it really is. And, hopefully this program reflects some of the excitement of where things are going, but we always have to stay current, and, there's always challenges for audiences, for programmers, for filmmakers. So hopefully that we can help show the way a little bit.
And where's the best place for us to find out more information on the festival and on tickets and on all the films and all of that fun stuff online?
Well, definitely go to reelasian.com. That's REEL Asian.com. There you'll find everything about tickets, about the program. You can like us on Facebook, Facebook Real Asian. Follow us on Twitter. So we're all around.
Thank you so much, Aram, and best of luck with the festival this year.
All right, great. Good to see you.
You too. I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here in downtown Toronto.